All right, so today we're going to be looking at index notation. And we are already familiar with index notation and what that means. And I'll just give you a small example here. If I give you 4 squared, what does that really mean? That's right, you guessed it, 4 times 4. In the same way that if I gave you 4 cubed, that really means 4 times 4 times 4. And this is said in words as 4 squared and 4 cubed. So, therefore, where does the index notation come in? Well, in the writing of 4 squared, 4 is known as my base, and 2 is known as my index, or depending on which textbook you are using, you might see the word power, or in more American settings or American textbooks, they use the word exponents. All 3 words indicate the same thing. But what does that exponent or power or index really tell us? Well, comparing to the examples we did before, it really tells us how many times I multiply this base. So that is what the number 2 is telling us there. All right, well, let's try to use our understanding so far to see if we can do a few questions. So what does 5 to the power 2 or 5 squared really mean? It's asking us to calculate the value of that. Well, we know, using our definition above, that 5 squared is really 5 times 5, which if I calculate that, I should get an answer of 25. Very good. So what about 2 to the 5th power? This one looks a little harder, but let's use our understanding to see if we could get through this one. 2 to the 5th power. Now remember what we said. What does that 5 tell us? It's the same thing as the 2 there. It's telling us how many times I need to multiply my base. So if I'm writing this out, expanding gives us 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 multiplied 5 times, which should give us an answer of 32. What about 3 to the 3rd power? That one is not too bad. It's really 3 times 3 times 3, which, if I calculate that, I should get an answer of 27. And the last one, which I'm going to do right below here, is 10 to the 4th power. What does that one mean? It means I'm multiplying my base of 10. How many times? That is right, 4 times. And let's see if I can get an answer for that. And that happens to be an answer of 10,000. Very good. Now, I just want to point out a little trick here. The number of zeros in your answer tells you the power that 10 was raised to. So you can see that I have 4 zeros in that final answer of 10,000. And that tells me that I was raising it to the power 4. So the 4 tells me how many zeros come after that 1. Just a little tip or trick you could take with you when doing your exercise. Let's move on to example 2. So we're looking at 2 to what power is expanded to look like that? They're getting a little tricky now. So let's focus. So let's look. How many times did I multiply 2 in this expanded form? Because that is what's going to tell me what the exponent was in the question. So let's count the number of 2's that I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that clearly means that my exponent was 7. Very good. And 9 is equal to 3 to what power? These are getting more and more interesting. Now, they haven't given us the number in an expanded form, but they want us to figure out 3 to what power gives me 9. Well, hopefully you know your squares and you'll be able to write down 2 right off the bat. Very good. Very good, because 3 squared is 9. Now, 10 to what power is going to give me 10,000? Now, if you take the trick I taught you'd write in example 1, part D, remember I said the number of zeros in the final answer tells me what power 10 was raised to. So let's look at how many zeros I have in this number. 10, that's 1 0, 2 zeros, 3 zeros, which means that my exponent was clearly 3. Very good. And 5 cubed happens to be 5 times 5 times 5. It means my base of 5 is what goes into those boxes. Very good. So that one was completed with not much difficulty. Let's move on to example 3. Now, it says to determine 2 to the 5th power. Well, 2 to the 5th power, because I did it over here already, I can simply write that one down, but it's fairly easy. It's 2 multiplied 5 times, which gives me an answer of 32. All right, so let's move to part B. What is 2 cubed? Well, that happens to be 2 multiplied 3 times, which gives me, very good, 8. Now, part C is asking me to work something out. What is 2 to the 5th divided by 2 to the 3rd? Well, that's my answer from part A, which was 32 divided by 8, which gives me an answer of 4. Very good. It's not too bad. Now, part D says express your answer in part C in index notation. So my answer to part C was actually 4, and they want me to write that as an index or with an index. So what can we do? What number to a power gives me 4? Well, I'll let you know that there are more than one answers to this question, because I could simply be cheeky and put a 1 there, because 4 to the power 1 is still 4, isn't it? But let's try to look for other answers that we could possibly get. So this is one possible answer. Or, can you think of another one? Well, this one's fairly easy. Everyone knows that 2 to the power 2 is also 4. Is that right? Good. Now, there are others, but we're not going to explore as many of them in this first lesson. Well, let's see how well you can do on the first exercise, and please feel free to refer to any of these notes to help you along.